today we are coming back to the hot topics related to the AI.
If something helps you sell 100% more domains than previously, then this is significantly enhancing the user experience. It enhances the sales you get from these domains, and basically it's a big game changer, I would say. The sky is the limit with this one.
Hello everybody, welcome to the next episode of the NextGen Web Podcast. In today's episode we are going to talk about the 3.3 update of the AI SDK and the new version of the v0 chat. If you like this content, please feel free to like, subscribe and leave the feedback in the comments. So Philip, I guess we can start with the next episode. Today we are coming back to the hot topics related to the AI. As I said at the beginning, we have two of them, and I guess we can start off with the AI SDK. So basically we mentioned the AI SDK, I believe, a few times already in the podcast, but just to be sure we are on the same page, I think we can briefly go through the AI SDK elements and just talk briefly about what AI SDK really is in practice.
Sure thing. So as our regular viewers know, we talk a lot about AI SDK and v0, but for the newcomers, let's start by bringing AI SDK topic a little bit closer to you. So with that, we have a toolkit for building our AI applications with frameworks like not only Next.js, but also Svelte, for example. So the support is getting bigger and wider, and with Vercel idea for AI SDK, we are going into direction for an ORM style toolkit that will be like merging all of the AI models and bringing it into our web applications.
Yeah, sure. So basically this is the definition of the AI SDK. I think the biggest possibility it gives us developers is just the abstraction layer to integrate with the LLM providers, which is very handy and saves us a ton of work. So we can diverge the AI SDK, I guess, to the three parts. We have the AI SDK core, we have the AI SDK UI, and also the RC element. So I guess we can start with the AI SDK core, which basically is an unified API for generating text, structured objects, and tool calls with LLMs. And we have some handy features here. Maybe you can just go briefly and just show the users, show the listeners of the show what utilities do we have in the AI SDK core.
Yeah, so basically with AI SDK core we have four main functions that are helping us use this toolkit in our application. So first of all, we have generate text, which is a self-explanatory name. We just generate text and tool calls with this function. So this is a great way to create an application that has some use cases when we don't necessarily base everything on interactivity. So for example, for some automation tasks and things like that. We also have stream text function, which is for streaming text and tool calls, just like with the generate text, but instead of generating, we are streaming it. So we can use the stream text for interactive use cases, for example, with chatbots and things like that. We've covered this stream text function in one of our recent episodes when we were talking about earlier update of AI SDK. We have generate object, which is a function that will make us a structured object that will match our v0's schema. We can use this, for example, to return some kind of a structured data For example, if we are trying to build an application that uses some data generation tasks or classification, things like that. And we also have stream object, so pretty basic stuff, text objects generating streaming. And with streaming our structure object, we can just stream it with our React server components to the users.
Yeah, sure. So that was great introduction to the SDK core. I believe we mentioned all of the utilities that are available in this SDK. And you also mentioned the chatbot building, which is very trendy nowadays. So the next core feature of the AI SDK is the UI SDK, which gives us a few hooks that allow us to rapidly build UIs that are being based on the AI models. So first of them would be the use chat, which is very handy to abstract the whole state management for the AI chatbot. So for example, the inputs, the messages, the loading states, errors, all of these can be handled in one place, which would be the use chat, which is very convenient for the developer's experience. Next one would be the use completion, which is again pretty much self-explanatory. Helps us to build the AI-powered completions in our chatbot. The next one would be the use object. So before, Philip, you were talking about the stream object and the generate object. So basically, when we are streaming the objects from the server, we can take advantage of the use object on the client side, which helps us flawlessly implement the object streaming straight in our client components. And we also have the use assistant hook, which would be the last one from the Vercel AI SDK UI. And we have one last SDK, which would be the RSC one.
Yeah, so as the name suggests, RSC stands for React Server Components, and basically this is the library for us to stream our user interfaces with React Server Components to the user. So we can leverage all of the RSC perks with our generated UI. And with that, we also have several features that are pretty useful with that. So we have our stream UI function, which calls our model and allows it to respond with React Server Components. We have use UI state hook, which returns our current UI state. We have use AI state, which returns the AI state as the name suggests and updates it if necessary. So it contains all of our context and information shared with AI model. For example, system messages and function responses, so on, so on. We also have use actions for our server actions from the client. And we have create AI, which creates client-server context for our AI model. And one thing that I would like to add regarding also the previous thing you mentioned, which is generative, which is AI SDK UI, is that it uses hooks as in React, and it makes very easy for a person that knows React how to use it. It's very intuitive, and for a seasoned React user, it will be pretty easy to create an application that leverages AI SDK, for example, chatbot we mentioned.
Yeah, that's true. So basically the learning curve when you're React dev coming to the AI SDK is just like pretty much instant. As we said on one episode where we showed the demo of the weather app, so we basically made the whole app within like 1 hour. Of course, it was very simple example, but it just shows you how fast can you develop things like that with the usage of the AI SDK. So coming back to the RSC SDK, We also have 4 utilities which are handy for streamable values. The first of them would be the create streamable value, which helps us to stream the values from the server to the client, as the name suggests. Also, we have the read streamable value. Also, we can create and stream the UI components with the create streamable UI. And also we have the use streamable value, which accepts the value created using the create streamable value and returns the current value, error, or any pending state. So these are basically the utilities that are available in the AI SDKs. We strongly suggest listeners to go to the docs because they are very clear, and you can pretty much jump into the code straight after just spending a bit in the docs. So this is very convenient. And I guess we can move on to the next topic, which would be the AI SDK 3.3 update. So we have 4 major things in the new update. I guess we can start off with the tracing update.
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned, AI SDK 3.3, we have a big update. A lot of things are added. We are starting with tracing, but I think this is one of the biggest updates since recent times in AI SDK. So yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, tracing. We have a better support for tracing with OpenTelemetry. So this is like an open source standard for any telemetry information. This is currently as an experimental feature, but we can use it and poke around with it, for example, with Vercel Datadog integration. So this will be very helpful. As we know, logging and tracing our information can be useful for us developers and also for any business logic that is implemented in our application. So we can analyze this tracing data with Vercel integrations, not only Datadog, but also, for example, Sentry or Axiom. We can also use the LLMs observability providers, for example, Langfuse or Braintrust or Langsmith. And the setting up this new tracing system is pretty much very simple. The one thing we need to do is importing the Vercel OTel package, and if we are using Next.js and deploy our application on Vercel, we can adjust the instrumentation file and paste a simple 4 or 5 row snippet into our file, and this will be it. So
yeah, sure. So as you can see in the snippet, we have the instrumentation TS file where we basically register our OTel telemetry. So maybe just coming back to the tracing the application. Basically nowadays having very in-depth logs in production grade application with a big user base is basically a no-brainer. Especially if you are adopting new tech like AI into your app. I think it's vital to have in-depth knowledge of what your users are seeing and having just the in-depth understanding of the logs. So that's great that the OpenTelemetry support was added. And yeah, as you can see in the code snippet, we just have to add the instrumentation TS. And going further, we have the await generate text function there. And we have the experimental telemetry prop, where we pass the isEnabled flag, the function ID, which is then used to identify our function, and also the metadata to have the further insight to our metrics and logs.
That's true.
Yeah, so I think we can move to the next update, which would be the multimodal file attachments.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I was waiting for this one. This is also an experimental feature, just like the telemetry, but it shows us that the AI SDK is going really, I think, mature with its development and allowing us to add more and more useful stuff to our Gen AI applications. So with multimodal file attachments, we can simply send files to our LLM, just like we do it right now, for example, with GPT 4.5, and use our model to, for example, analyze these attachments or do some other stuff with it. So basically, that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I guess we can jump into the code examples, maybe.
Yeah, I think this will be the best.
Yeah, but I don't know how about you, Philip, but the features regarding the uploading files, as you mentioned, for example, in the 4.0 GPT, this is so handy. For example, if you are just passing the whole PDF document and you just give some prompts to, for example, give the bullet points explanation, saves a ton of time, and this is a great feature to build your own custom solutions.
Yes.
And with the more and more adoption of these type of tools, it's great that you have a tool set which you can then use yourself to build your own tools, which is great. And yeah, we can dive into the first example, which would be using the file list in our use chat hook. So as you can see here, we are destructuring the input handle submit and handle input change from the use chat, which are the basic functionalities. And we also have the state with our files, which have the type of file list or undefined. We are starting off with the default value as undefined in the state here. And code is very simple here. On submit, we are attaching with the prop experimental attachments our files state, and we allow our custom chatbot to have the functionalities of for example, the 4.0 GPT chat.
Two things I would like to mention with this one. First of all, it's really good to notice that we can handle multiple files at once. This is really helpful. For example, if we have multiple PDFs files which we need to manage. And the second thing, if you look at the code, it's still very React-ish. So any React user will have a very light time with incorporating AI SDK.
Yeah, I mean, the code is that simple. So just by looking at it the first time, if you have basically an experience with React,
yes,
it is so easy to just jump in and build stuff.
That's true.
Also, in the second code example, we see here, which is the URLs option of passing the experimental attachments. Instead of the file list, we have here the example object, which is PNG content type with the URL, and we pass it basically the same as the file list. So very convenient as well.
Yes, pretty much a regular form, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I guess we can move on to the next update, which would be the use object hook.
That's true. As we mentioned in the AI SDK overview, the core functionalities let us generate and stream structurized data. So with use object hook, we can actually use this structurized data we are generating or streaming from our AI model. And as you can see on the screen, we can imagine an application where we can enter our expenses as text for reimbursement, and then our AI model will convert our text into structured objects and stream these expenses to user as it's being processed. So we can use it, for example, for creating dashboards expense trackers, like sky is the limit with this one. It's also really helpful. And if we scroll down to the code snippet we have with this expense schema, as you can see, and also expense route, it's also that simple React stuff. As one person said, like the simplification is the ultimate sophistication. So it's really nice to see that this code is so simple and so easy to use. Even if you are not an AI expert, you don't need to set up the whole model by yourself and become a Python data specialist. You can just use plain React, and you don't even have to be an advanced React user. You just have to gain some overview knowledge about how managing states will work. And it's really nice to see. You can see smile on my face because I'm really happy that it goes in that direction.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I believe with these tools right now, the biggest obstacle is your own imagination to build stuff. I mean, just the simplicity, as you mentioned, is crazy here. And as you could have seen on the code examples, the simple ZOT schema for validation. Then I think we can just briefly come back to the root example of the function. So basically what we have here, the kind of the place where the magic happens would be the stream object function. So as you can see in the first prop, we are defining the model we are going to use. Here we have the Anthropic with the Cloud 3.5 Sonnet, which is great, to be honest. I don't know how about you, but I was using Sonnet a bit lately, of course, and I was pretty amazed about the stuff it was able to generate. So I don't know if you've heard about the new Sonnet update with the artifacts. So we have like pretty similar result to the new v0 chat, where we have like on the left side we have the chat with prompts, and on the right side we are having our artifact with the thing we are building there. So it is very convenient to just build some stuff. But coming back to the code example, later on we are defining the system prop, where we basically define how the model is supposed to behave. Later on we have the prompt, which is the please categorize the following expenses, and we are passing the expense there. The schema, which was defined in the ZOD object, and on finish, for example, we could save the expense to the database. And on the client side, maybe Philip, you can just briefly talk us through the client code, which is pretty much very simple as well.
Yeah, so first of all, we have our use client directive, which is mentioned in our Next.js rendering strategies episode.
Yep.
Be sure to check it out if you don't know what it means. And then we have just a bunch of imports from our API schemas and our AI SDK. We have a simple state for our expenses, and then we have the use object hook we mentioned, where the magic on the client side happens. So we specify which API are we using. In this case, it will be expense API. We have our schema and what happens on finish in our onFinish function. And if our object is not null, then we set expenses for a new value, which is also very simple and very intuitive. And then we return our UI, which is just our form with updated expenses. So pretty straightforward stuff. It looks good, and I can only imagine an amount of work engineers behind it put to make it so simple for us to
that's true,
to implement it.
That's true. If something works like that and just requires so little input from our side, you can just basically imagine how well does it have to work under the hood. We also have the last component here regarding the expense tracker. So it would be the expense view component. So you can see that we have the undefined properties handling, which basically enables us to handle the partial objects which are being streamed to the UI. So if we have an element of the UI, we can just simply render it and omit the other ones, which is also a common pattern in React. So it's nothing new. If you are React dev, it is just everyday code you see in pretty much every project. And I think we can move to the next thing from the update, would be the additional LLM settings.
Yep. So besides our main functionalities, we are also gaining some of the settings regarding LLMs. So we can list them out. First of all, we have JSON schema support for tools and structured object generations. Pretty useful stuff. JSON is one of the most widely used data formats. Although, for example, recently I've come across working with XML. I'm not very happy about it.
I believe you.
But I was building an XML to JSON converter, so it's really great that they are adding this support. And of course, as an alternative, we have our v0's schemas, which are also useful, especially when working with TypeScript. We mentioned it as one of the best TypeScript packages you can use in our episode about TypeScript. The second thing we have is the stop sequences. So we are able to stop generations that are generating some text prompts. This is also a feature that is useful, and probably I would call it a quality of life improvement with this one. And at the finish, last but not least, we have custom headers and sending them. So this is very important when we are tracing information or sending some requests, handling any external data communication. So we can now send custom headers using headers option in most of AI SDK functions, which is really, really great. And the one thing I'm thinking right now is, as you may seen on my face recently, I am very happy about it, but it's also not only great for developers, but I would say all of the tech industry is could benefit from AI SDK, because the number of use cases we can work with this one is really, really great. As you can see, we have examples of creating expense trackers for our personal use. So with AI SDK we can create some personal side projects, but we can also create an SaaS platform, software as a service, and sell it to the users. And we can also use it to automate some processes in our bigger companies. So sky is the limit with this update, and it's really good to see AI SDK going into that direction. I'm really, really happy about this, and I can't wait to see where does it go.
Yeah, sure. So basically with the new update, there is no better time to just start building new apps and trying stuff out. So we encourage you guys to go give it a try yourself. We think it's very convenient to build the new apps. So just go to the docs of Vercel AI SDK and just start building stuff. I guess we can move to the next topic for today, which would be the new v0 update. So we are strictly talking about the v0 chat here. So we are getting pretty much the very comprehensive overhaul of the UI here. And we are getting something very similar to like the Claude Sonnet 3.5 artifacts, where we have the chat on the left side and our artifact on the right side. But also, except of that, we also have a chatbot which has very in-depth knowledge about Next.js and the web development overall. So it can be also used as a knowledge base if you're a Next.js dev. And I think the best way to showcase how good the new v0 is simply to do a quick demo of a component we are going to create. Okay, so going back to the v0, Philip, I guess we can build something which would be always trendy, maybe something related to the e-commerce. For example, a product page. What do you think?
Sounds great.
Okay. Yeah. So let's start with the first prompt. I guess we can say that I want to build a product page for my e-commerce store, and I believe we can start building with this simple prompt.
Yeah.
So we are getting the loading indicator here, and we're gonna see the artifact on the right side pretty soon, I guess.
It's also really nice that it shows the thinking process behind this component. So it shows us every step of the way it's taking to create our component.
Yeah, so we have the first iteration here on the right side. So we have some image placeholder, we have some reviews, we have the add to cart button. I guess we can add some things here. Maybe let's just say we want to have like the shoes product page, and I guess we can add some buttons, for example, to change the color, maybe choose a size, and I guess that would be it for now.
Yeah, let's start with
so that. Yeah, let's say we have a shoes product page, add choose color button, and choose size, and let's see what do we get here. Okay, so as you can see on the right side, we are also streaming the code, which is generated with ShadCN and Tailwind, and we also have the preview here. Okay, so we are getting something already. We have the choose color, we have the choose size, and let's see. Seems to work pretty well, to be honest. So I guess we can iterate further on this component. Philip, any ideas? What do we want to add here?
As we are selling shoes right now, I think the one thing that would be really helpful with that is like different size tables for this one, because we have the size, but we don't know if this is US size or UK size or EU size or Japan size or centimeters.
That's a good catch.
So that would be really nice. And the second thing, I don't know if these buttons for colors are the same width. I guess they are based on the width of the text we have inside.
Yeah,
so
right.
Maybe we can create some fixed width buttons to it look a little bit more symmetrical.
Yeah, sure. So maybe we can even have something similar to the select with the sizes, just to make it, more composed there.
Yeah.
So maybe you can ask the chat to make it as a select. So maybe make the color picker as select. And also we want different sizing tables for different countries. Let's say this would be the prompt here, and let's see what are we going to get here. Okay, so the first thing that comes to my mind here is that we are getting the responses pretty much instant with the code. and the preview is building pretty fast as well. So just overall performance is really good here. Yeah, so we have the select here with the choose color, and we also have the sizing chart table, which, to be honest, looks pretty nice to me. So we have the US, we have the UK, and we have the Europe. Choose size. Okay, we have first UI back here with the Z index, I guess, here. But also we have the choose color as the select. So any ideas what can we iterate more here?
Overall, it looks really nice.
Yeah.
And I think right now we could try to fit it into the whole page. So with navigation menu, with some breadcrumbs above this, so we know where we are in the application, with some footer. So just let's maybe try to ask it to fit it into like the whole e-commerce layout.
Okay, that's a very good idea, to be honest. So now let's try to fit the component into a e-commerce layout with navbar, breadcrumbs, and footer. Okay, so let's give it a try.
Let's try it, yeah.
Okay, so we see that v0 is going to complete an e-commerce layout. Okay, let's see what do we have here. So we have the navbar, okay, starting to look pretty good to me. Okay, so as you can see, we already have the breadcrumbs. We also have the navbar.
Is it working? Navbar?
I think the v0 is still generating, so maybe, okay, I think it's done already. So we have the navbar with some nice hover effects. I see that the burger menu doesn't have any on-click here,
Okay.
but we have the whole layout with the breadcrumbs. We also have the footer, which looks pretty nice, to be honest. And it seems that we have a fully responsive e-commerce product page. Okay, we have maybe some issues here with the layout, but basically within like 5 minutes we have a full e-commerce layout here, which, to be honest, looks pretty good.
The one thing I would like to see, if that's possible, can we make this hamburger menu functional? Can it add some...
Sure, let's give it a go.
Can it add some behavior to it? So we can use an on-click, for example, and it will give us some sections. It doesn't have to redirect us, of course, but just give us the behavior for opening and closing this menu.
Sure, that's a good idea. So maybe let's say we want to add on-click to the burger menu in the navbar to open a drawer with example links from the store. Let's give it a go.
And also we have to remember that it's still early phase of this new v0 stage, I would say. But overall it seems pretty impressive, I would say. Especially if someone uses it for some kind of inspiration for design, and B has a very little technical knowledge and wants to build something fast, or maybe wants to prototype something, for example. But it overall looks really, really good, I would say. But I don't think, or maybe it will work.
Yeah, let's see. I don't see our burger menu here.
We have a search bar even.
Okay, so we have a search bar instead of our burger menu with the on-click, but I believe it's still generating, so maybe let's give it a chance still.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you mentioned, we are currently in the early beta. So it is not production ready, and of course it's not perfect yet. So yeah, let's see what do we have here. We have the search bar. I don't really see the burger menu with opening of our links. We have the rest of our component, but yeah, we are missing the burger menu. So maybe we can just try to fix it with a prompt.
Yeah.
So we are missing the burger menu. Please add it and on click handler to open the drawer. Okay, let's see what do we have here. Also, as you can see here, we are getting the versions of our components which we were iterating. So if we don't like some change and we want to roll back to the previous version, we can simply do it by clicking the specific version from the history, which is very convenient as well.
Yeah, it's really nice with this whole iteration process. For prototyping, this is a great tool. Really impressive. Of course, it would be hard to create a fully functional website with it right now, but for prototyping design, prototyping functionalities, or gaining some overall hints and directions where to go, it's really great. As you can see, it's not perfect. We still don't have our navbar created, but it's a beta version, so we don't expect everything to work perfectly. But yeah, this looks really promising, and I see in the near future how it would go with maybe even creating full websites using just v0. It would be really it's working.
Okay, look at it.
Okay.
So basically what I did is I clicked the continue generating. So I guess we had some context already, and we just had to give a little push to our AI model.
I need to apologize to the v0. I was not believing.
We made it, and it looks neat, to be honest. We have the burger menu with the on-click handler. So the v0 defended itself here. As you can see, works very nice here.
The only thing I don't like about this design is this product photo. When we are getting it bigger, it's centered. When you make it wider, it's like its layout is a bit awkward. But overall, it looks really good, and the whole design is clean. It's sleek. It's really legit. If I would go to a shoe store page and saw this design, I would say, okay, it doesn't really different for things like Nike or other brands. It looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, we have to remember, like as we mentioned in the previous episode where we were introducing the v0, the intent here was not to like make the pixel perfect UIs, but rather, as you said before, like prototyping. And just allowing to iterate fast and break things. So as you can see, we have our product page with the e-commerce layout, which shows you how easy it is to set up a layout like this. And to be honest, for me as a dev, if I had to like create the whole layout from scratch, it is kind of a task you pretty much made 1,000 times before. So just allowing us to focus on more abstract things, more like interesting challenges for us developers, and simplify just making the UI prototypes by tools like v0. It's very convenient.
Yeah, for sure. As you can see, the range of functionalities it can give us, maybe not functionalities, but layouts and design it can give us is really, really wide. We used it for e-commerce because it's an industry that it's really trendy right now, from solo entrepreneurs that are selling something to big companies. So everyone, every size of e-commerce matters, and here we can automate and speed up process of development for our projects, because we don't have to sit and wait for the designs or create designs ourselves. I don't know how about you, but I'm pretty not very good with creating a design from scratch. I'm not a designer. I'm very anti-design person. So it's really great. It's really great. I'm very amazed by it, and that it made this drawer working.
Yeah, that's cool that we have our drawer finally working.
Yeah.
And as you can see, we have the 2 messages remaining today as for the free version. So it is cool we managed to do our task within the free tokens.
As you can see, you can prototype a product details page for free.
Yeah, that's cool, for sure.
In few minutes.
Yeah, so basically we encourage you guys to try it yourselves. As you can see, you have some free tokens which you can play around with. Very cool tool. And yeah, I guess we can move on to some maybe business implications of incorporating the AI to the companies. And I guess we can mention an interesting topic here, which would be the Vercel Impact Assessment for AI initiatives, which basically is kind of a framework for companies to use with evaluating the AI features development into the companies. So we have few points here. The first one of them would be the integration feasibility. So basically, in each point on the scale on 1 to 5, we are evaluating the property here. So in this first point, what we are doing is evaluating how easy the AI solution can be implemented within our existing technology stack. So with 1 being high complex integration, and with 5 being a seamless integration here. So the next one, what do we have?
The strategic alignment, which measures how well the UI use case aligns with our organization's strategy and goals. So basically, if the AI is helpful in our case. So with 1 we have minimal alignment, which would not be useful to incorporate it, and with 5 we have perfect strategic fit, and it would be really beneficial to incorporate some AI use cases.
Sure, so we can move on to the next one, which is the business logic enhancement. So basically, as the name says, here we evaluate if we can really enhance our business logic within our enterprise with the AI solution, with 1 being the minor enhancements and with 5 being the major process improvements. The next one, we have the data quality and availability.
Yeah, so depends on the business we are running. We may have to specify some data for the AI model so it will work seamlessly. And this metric, data quality and availability, shows us if we have this data. So with 1 we have the poor data quality or significant data gaps, and with 5 we have high quality comprehensive data readily available, so we can start working with AI model right away, and then we can go straight to performance and scalability.
Yeah, so basically we can evaluate how well the AI solution can handle increased loads and just adapt to growing data volumes and the usage here. So of course here with 1 on the scale, we would have some performance concerns here. And with 5, we have the excellent performance characteristics, and we are pretty sure that our AI solution is highly scalable here. And we have the last one, which would be the security, compliance, and user trust.
Yeah, so with this one, pretty self-explanatory also. We are measuring how secure would using AI be. With 1, we have significant security and compliance risks and low user trust. And with 5, we have robust security, full compliance, and high user trust potential. And with this framework, we can safely measure how easy it would be to incorporate AI into our business, and if it would even make sense. Because, for example, in some industries or in some specific use cases, maybe the costs of implementing AI would be bigger than benefits we get from it, but you would have to measure it with this framework, and then it would be easier to involve stakeholders from different departments to help us with this evaluation. And with this collaborative approach, we can incorporate AI solutions into our organization. And I think we can smoothly go to the use cases.
Yeah, for sure. So the one pretty interesting use case, which was usage of the AI SDK by Vercel itself, was the issue with purchasing domains which were containing the non-English characters. So specifically the internationalized names in the Panicode format. So the issue there was that the domain names required also the language code, which was not being utilized correctly in the infrastructure. So the team had to come up with a solution to basically, from the context of the domain name, to specify what language code it is. And what Vercel did here is to utilize the generate text function from the AI SDK core. And I guess we can bring up the code example here, which is also provided in the next docs. So as you can see here, we are simply passing the system prompt where we define that the job of the AI assistant is to determine the language of the domain. And we also pass the language codes list, and we say to the AI that it is supposed to choose the language from the list, and if it cannot assess the language to any language from the list, we are simply passing the word unknown. So maybe Philip, you can just briefly talk about the outcome of this solution, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, so basically you mean this result we are having, right?
Yeah, for sure. So the success rate of the solution here.
Yeah, so with this one we can safely say that Vercel identified the correct language codes for different domains, and the implementation resulted in a 100% success rate for previously failed domains, which can sound like a scam, but it's not. It's real data.
Yeah.
And
pretty impressive, to be honest.
Like, you can imagine, if you are a business person watching this, if something helps you sell 100% more domains than previously, then this is significantly enhancing the user experience. It enhances the sales you get from these domains, and basically it's a big game changer, I would say.
Yeah, so as you can see, it's a pretty interesting use case by Vercel itself. Also, there's one pretty interesting use case, which I believe Guillermo from Vercel posted on X, Twitter. whatever you name it. So basically what you had there was a tool that was supposed to monitor your network, and simply by just passing the natural language queries, we were getting back some elements of the dashboard with the inside data, and we could simply drag and drop on the right side the elements of the dashboard, and thanks to that we could create the personalized experience and dashboard from scratch, which is also a great example of the
Great
AI
use
SDK.
case of overall generative UI, I would say. And as we mentioned in one of the first episodes about generative UI, but I think we can safely repeat that, the potential for Gen UI to be incorporated in different branches, in different solutions is huge. We talked about e-commerce, how we can create an e-commerce design with v0, but we can also use the generative AI with AI SDK inside our e-commerce store. We can use it for auto-completion, for searching, for showing our users products based on their preferences, based on the location that they are staying right now. So we can safely say that it would be like an enhanced version of algorithms that web browsers, search engines, social media pages are using right now. For example, with the whole data profiling thing, like with Facebook, Instagram, we are talking about some product right now, for example, skateboard, and then I would go into my search engine and I would see recommendation for skateboards I would like to buy. So I think with this whole Gen AI process we can enhance it and use it even with things like accessibility. For example, if we know that user has some impairments with his eyes, for example, or something like that, we can design our page a little bit different, and the AI can show him the specifically tailored UI with bigger fonts or different contrast ratio. So the sky is the limit with this one.
Yeah, sure. So the imagination here is the only constraint, pretty much. And I'm very interested how the whole web development world is going to evolve, given that the tools we have right now just enable us to seamlessly integrate with very interesting tools and just to create the very personalized experiences in the web world. So yeah, we're gonna see how the web world is going to change in the future. And yeah, I guess we can slowly wrap this episode up. So we've mentioned the AI SDK with the new 3.3 update. We also had the v0. We had some insights on how the industry is evolving right now. Philip, anything more you'd like to add to the AI topic?
I think we covered this topic deeply. As I mentioned a few times today, I'm really happy about this. The outcome, the possible outcome of this whole AI SDK update, v0 update, looks really promising for developers, tech users, entrepreneurs, business people overall. So yeah, let's see what the future brings, and I'm really happy about it. As I mentioned in the first episode, I was pretty positive about future of generative UI, and here we have first proofs that it's really that we can say we foresaw the future.
Yeah, sure. So guys, if you like this episode, please feel free to leave your feedback in the comments, also subscribe to our channel, and yeah, thank you for watching and see you in the next one.
Thank you guys.